Ladies and gentlemen, this is the XFL.
Nice try doing the Miss McMahon impression.
Yeah.
But A for effort, though, sir. A for effort.
And that was originally the iconic introduction to what would be, at the time, a colossal failure.
But since Mr. McMahon is hands off this time, this can actually be a colossal success. I was very impressed with the opening weekend of the XFL. How about you?
Yes. And officially, I want to welcome you to Cajun Connection. How you doing, Cajun Nation?
I was about to say Cajun Asian. Like, wait, what? So we're some Asian Cajuns now? Like, we age quick? Like, it's the South. We eat, we like to eat cornbread and red beans and rice and greens and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, when I was in Phoenix, there was a Cajun grill that served Cajun teriyaki chicken, okay? And it was right next to the red beans with rice. I ain't making that up. That was in the Tempe Mall, Arizona Mills Mall.
Arizona is not the South. That is the West. Okay. We Southern folk don't claim Arizona. We do not claim them. I would like to visit there someday, but I do not claim Arizona's part as far as Southern folk. Just because you a Southern state doesn't mean you are Southern folk. Southern folk is Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida and Texas.
Yeah.
But anyways, actually some crazy news at the XFL. After one game, the Los Angeles Wildcats fired their defensive coordinator, Pepper Johnson, after their loss to the Houston Roughnecks. I was about to say Rednecks. Good lord. Basically, LA had a 14-6 lead at halftime, and PJ Walker, Houston Roughnecks quarterback, came out swinging in the second half with 4 touchdown passes as the Roughnecks handled the Wildcats 37-17. So Pepper Johnson loses his job after one game.
I know. That was just kind of weird. He's like, at least give the guy a chance to redeem himself. Jeez.
Like, yes. Like, I mean, what I like about the XFL is that there's a lot of NFL talent, a lot of familiar faces that we may know as far as coaching and the players. A lot of greats from college, a lot of people that were once drafted in the NFL. I mean, like, for example, Jordan Teamu, who was a prolific quarterback from Ole Miss. He's a starting quarterback for the St. Louis Battlehawks. Matt McGloin, who was a former Penn State quarterback, former quarterback for the Oakland Raiders. He was a bit of a journeyman. He's quarterback for the New York Guardians. Aaron Murray, who is one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the University of Georgia, is now quarterback for the Tampa Bay Vipers.
For now,
because he looked
that was bad. that was bad.
But New York Guardians, I gotta hand it to New York Guardians. They look good.
Yeah. Also, I was impressed with the performance from Cardell Jones.
Oh Lord, for DC Defenders.
DC Defenders, and they played the
They played against the Seattle Dragons.
Seattle Dragons, yeah.
And the same quarterback from Troy State University that ended up bringing his Trojans down to Tiger Stadium and knocked off the LSU Tigers. You remember that? That's the same guy he started for the Seattle Dragons. So it's refreshing seeing him lose and getting his backside kicked by the DC Defenders. Felt good.
So first impressions, I liked it. I really did. It was interesting seeing the kickoff. For those of y'all who don't know, the kicker starts at their own 20, and the return guy is on his own 20. The kickoff team is on the opposing 35, and the return team, or the rest of the return team, is lined up on their own 30, and nobody can move other than the kicker and the returner until the ball is caught. And I thought that was a very interesting
It's just
concept.
like when that ball is caught, just start killing each other. But
it also means that people are not coming at each other at torpedo speed and having collisions.
And I think that's very innovative. At first, when I first looked at it, I'm like, what in tarnations is going on? But I'm just like, well, I mean, at least they're not killing each other. But I mean, if you're gonna kill each other, it's gonna be close combat.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that I really liked, at least found interesting, we'll see how it develops. So far, it has not been utilized to its full potential, but that is the extra point system. Instead of kicking for a 1 point extra point at the
I think 2.
At the end of a touchdown, you can go for 1 from the 2-yard line.
Go for 2 from like the 5-yard line.
Yeah, the 5-yard line.
And then go for 3 from the 10-yard line.
Yeah, so, and they were making the point that an 18-point lead is no longer safe in the XFL. There's a lot of, and the coaches were talking, there's a lot of strategy that now goes into that. So if you fall behind by multiple scores, you can still catch up relatively easy.
I mean, we're seeing some good defenses to where, I mean, I don't like some teams' chances.
Well, I have to take that with a grain of salt because it was the first game of the XFL's second inaugural season.
I mean, the thing is, teams have been scrimmaging each other all offseason. But, I mean, I understand, now it's that true game speed.
And a lot of these guys have not played for, 1, 2, 3 years? I mean...
And you have a lot of these coaches, they've been out for, 3 or 4 years. I mean, you look, Steve Spurrier is in the XFL, isn't he?
Yeah, Steve Spurrier and Bob Stoops.
So they haven't been coaching for a while.
Two big name coaches.
And so you see a lot of these players and coaches, they're trying to knock the cobwebs off and they're trying to really get themselves back in the swing of things. But I could see this being a huge success to where one day, not saying this season, but I'm just saying eventually it can get to maybe NFL caliber level. I mean, they already have NFL caliber guys, but Mr. McMahon, I mean, this is an experimental season, so I can see if it turns out to be a success this season, I can see Mr. McMahon expanding it and bringing in more teams. And hopefully he brings one to Louisiana, maybe. Hopefully.
We'll see about that. However, McMahon really, you could tell that he took this a hell of a lot more seriously than they did the first time around. For those who are old enough to remember the XFL's first inaugural season, and
it was a disaster.
Yeah, it kind of feels weird that we're having a second inaugural season, but
but I mean, this one is a lot better laid out.
Originally the football was just absolutely terrible, and the gimmicks that they brought over from pro wrestling just got in the way.
So, like Mr. McMahon, he just had too much of a hand in it. And so,
the opening that I did, that was, they tried to make that a routine thing by bringing some wrestlers over to do commentary on the games. Like the games were called by pro wrestlers, and that's stupid.
That is, but so now and what I like about this is that they have they give us an in-depth look about how an XFL game is ran. I mean, not only that, say if a player just made a play, they bring a sideline reporter, and they interview him. They interview the coaches, they have a mic as far as on the referees, also on the replay officials. There are plays that are being challenged, and replay officials, we can hear the decisions that they're making. Yeah. So it's we have an in-depth look as if we're already there.
I also liked how the reporters had access to the players and coaches at any point during a game.
Your quarterback just threw a third interception. How does it feel to know that your quarterback sucks?
Basically, and when the kicker's like, you just missed a field goal. How does that feel? How do you kind of counter that?
I would love to go to the LA Wildcats coaching staff, to the head coach, after that fourth touchdown by the Roughnecks, and just be like, so y'all just gave up a fourth touchdown. It's only been one game. You're going to fire Pepper Johnson? I would just love to have done that, and then this happens.
Another thing that impressed me was the pacing of the game. It is quick.
Well, I mean, the play clock is quicker.
Well, I mean, they adopted the 25-second play clock, which is found in college. But halftime was just 10 minutes.
And not only that, I mean, there's only 2 timeouts per half. So, and then I believe within the last 2 minutes of each half, after each play, the clock stops. Whether it's inbounds or out of bounds, that clock stops.
The only time the clock stops is inside of 2 minutes.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Inside 2 minutes of each half.
Yeah. So they bringing in a lot of new, interesting concepts of football. I think that will give it the opportunity to stand out. The fact that they're actually playing actual good while not NFL quality football, it is definitely college quality football.
I mean, we're not going to be seeing that, like, because you know how the NFL, they've gotten a lot more strict as far as penalties, as far as rules. We're not seeing that in the XFL. It's some to where the fans, and the reason why the ratings are going to increase and there's going to be a bigger turnout at these games is that, I mean, fans, they feel like, I mean, and me as a diehard football fan, I feel like we're going to be seeing actual good quality gladiator football over the coming weekends. And I mean, I feel good because I feel like as fans, we feel like football is truly back. Like the true nature of the sport is back in XFL.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. In fact, I suggested we actually go to a game in Houston, which
I'm down. I'm down for it.
Towards the second half of the season. So, I mean,
hey, go Roughnecks. Those boys look good.
I'm excited. I'm really excited and hopeful. It'll be nice to have an actual football league succeed outside the NFL for once.
I just hope that the XFL doesn't turn out to be the AAF, because the AAF was a complete financial disaster. I remember there were times where they almost did not hit payroll.
And that's another thing I want to bring up is that this is funded. McMahon has officially funded the league for 2 seasons. And they have official deals with CBS, Fox, and ESPN. Like
it's actually ABC, Fox, and ESPN.
So, 4 major networks right there.
And I mean, more money is going to come into where Mr. McMahon can keep funding XFL beyond 2 seasons. Like, I want to see this stand for about a good 5 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Okay, XFL, what did you think? Tell us in the comments below. All right, we will be moving on to LSU recruiting after our little break.
I'm sick of you with these loud introductions getting all up in my ears, man.
Maybe I'm crawling around in your head.
I will grab a knife and just all in my ears, man. All in my ears.
Yeah, you do that.
Nah, I ain't gonna do that. It ain't worth my hearing. I ain't trying to lose my hearing.
No, because that's all you can lose up there.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you like to call the police for something?
Okay, LSU football has wrapped up officially the 2020 recruiting class. A little bit of a whimper there at the end, but an overall solid class, number 4th in the country overall. A little bit of side news. Scott Linehan will be joining the LSU Tigers as the new passing coordinator.
Now, look, that ain't sad news. I mean, we're talking about a guy with an abundance of NFL experience, and he's coming down to the college level. So with his NFL expertise coming down to the college level, I think it can do LSU some good. Besides, I mean, Coach Ensminger still has full control of the offensive play calling. So if he doesn't like what Scott Linehan's trying to feed him, Coach Ensminger can go with his own decision. I mean, learning from a guy like Coach Brady, Coach Ensminger was able to retain a lot of helpful information as far as running his offense, especially the passing game specifically.
Now, I understand that, Ensminger is still the official offensive coordinator, but at the same time, I really just hope that this doesn't turn into,
a Matt Canada situation.
Yeah, I was Matt Canada 2.0.
Oh, God. That was just... I had so much faith in Matt Canada, but he couldn't handle the SEC.
No, I mean, he couldn't handle the Trojan horses.
Oh, God. Don't remind me.
You brought it up in the XFL segment, so, unless you forgot it 2 seconds already.
No, I'm just saying, just don't remind me.
Which I wouldn't put it past you.
Anyways, on to this pretty good recruiting class that I'm very optimistic about.
Okay, what 5 players stand out to you the most? I don't want to go over the whole recruiting class; that would take forever.
Well, so my 5, I would say, be Max Johnson. He comes from lineage, Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's the son of Brad Johnson, who won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, and he is the nephew of former Georgia Miami head coach Mark Richt. Another one, I would have to say I gotta come here is Jacobian Guillory, defensive lineman from Alexandria High School, which is about a good 2.5 hours from Baton Rouge. So he'll be close to home. He was in the 2020 All-American Bowl, and he also competed in 2020 Pro Football Hall of Fame World Bowl. Another one is Ali Gay, who was the number 2 ranked JUCO defensive end in the country. TJ Finley, who is the top quarterback in the state of Louisiana, and this is basically when it comes to TJ Finley, when it came to him during his career at Ponchatoula, it was pretty much a stat buffet. He accounted for 72 touchdowns. He completed 168 passes as a senior and 2,738 yards to go along with 21 touchdowns. Another one I would have to say would be Eric Gilbert, who was the first true tight end to win Gatorade National Player of the Year. Guy stands at 6'6", 245 pounds. So he is a formidable replacement for Thaddeus Moss, who sadly is going into the draft. I'd hate to see him go. And I would say that another one would be Alex Adams, wide receiver, coming out of Mississippi, and he helped South Pike to a 13-1 record in 2019. And he finished the year with 34 catches, 859 yards, also with 166 rushing yards. So he could probably be that gadget player that LSU can add to the offense.
Yeah, the five that stood out to me, I have to agree with you on Max Johnson. He is the prize quarterback for this year's draft class. Ranked 15th, pro style quarterback coming out of college, and he was the 52nd ranked overall out of Georgia. Pretty proficient, so I mean, he looks like he could pass. Rivals ranks him as the 30th best overall prospect in the state of Georgia.
Well, I mean, I think if the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, I think we'll be in pretty good shape.
Let's hope it falls a little bit further from the tree.
Well, a little bit further. I mean, Brad Johnson had that.
Brad
Johnson had a team around him at Tampa. I mean, along with John Gruden as his head coach.
Yeah.
So I mean, if it falls a little further in a good way, then we'll be in good shape in the years to come.
But another one that I have really high hopes for, and in fact, I'm very psyched to see him line up opposite of Derek Stingley. I said it all season last year. I can't wait to see Elias Rex come and shut down the other half of the field.
And he was like number one safety, like number one defensive back in the country, right?
Eventually, he officially finished as the number 2 cornerback. Yes.
But still, I mean, he'll be in good company. He's going to a unit that, prides himself as one of the best in the country. So,
I'm a little curious about Marcus Dumberville. He's a 6'5", 305-pound offensive lineman out of St. Thomas Aquinas in Fort Lauderdale. Big dude. 2020 Under Armour All-American game, rated number 11th offensive tackle in the nation, listed as the 65th prospect at ESPN's 300. Let's see. I have to agree with you again on Art Gilbert. He's listed as a tight end, but he's coming in as a tight end, but he's listed as an athlete. And that is in part because he also played defensive end in high school.
Do you think Coach O might use him on both sides of the ball?
I think eventually. I think coming in because of the lack of depth at the tight end position, with Moss going to the NFL and Sullivan graduating, I think he's automatically going to play tight end his freshman year. If they can get some more tight ends in, they do have 3 spots available, so they might be able to bring someone in through the transfer portal.
And I mean, also, they also bring another tight end, Cole Taylor, who's 6'7", weighing 232 pounds. So having guys like Taylor and Gilbert at the tight end position can really help, LSU open up that passing game with Miles Brennan at quarterback. That's, of course, if he wins that starting position.
And then another one is that I had to pick would be Keyshawn Bout, wide receiver, 6 foot. He's 185 pounds. He played at New Iberia, Louisiana, and he acquired a 5th star right there at the end of the recruiting process. So I'm curious. I don't know how the star system works. To me, it doesn't make any sense, and ultimately, it doesn't matter. I mean, Justin Jefferson was a 2-star recruit,
and look at his production now. So
yeah, I mean,
it's like, here's how I feel about it. I mean, all your accolades when you get to the college level, all your accolades in high school, they don't matter. I mean, you could be the number 1 recruit in the country. You could play in the 2020 Under Armour All-American game or the U.S. Army All-American game or whatever games you may play in as a senior. But when you get to college, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like when you get to the professional level, it's like the NFL. Then your experience, then what you've done in high school and college, it doesn't matter. It goes out the window. So I mean, I definitely agree with you. The star system is just absolutely pointless. It just gives players bragging rights, and it's just basically like, hey, you caught this many touchdowns, you passed for this many touchdowns, you got this, you got that, here's a gold star for you, great job.
And then to finish out my list is Trey Bradford. He's the running back from Texas that LSU picked up very late, and he's a 4-star out of Texas. He's a top 25 prospect out of that state, which is for Texas pretty good. The number 13th best running back prospect for 2020. But here's what stood out to me. His 9.2 yards per carry as a senior.
Jesus.
23 touchdowns and like 1,563 yards rushing. So that's pretty impressive. I mean, I don't follow Texas high school football, but
I mean, during his 3 seasons, I mean, Bradford rushed for more than 3,000 yards.
That 9.2 yards per carry stands out the most to me.
For Lancaster, I mean, they're pretty talented.
But, he's going to be obviously joining a very talented and a very crowded running back.
Along with John Emery, Tyrion Davis-Price,
Chris Curry. So 4 strong running backs. I would not be surprised if O does decide to redshirt Bradford.
I mean, he might want to free up some space.
Because Curry, he's going to be a redshirt sophomore, I do believe, and Emery and Davis-Price will also be true sophomores.
I'm excited the LSU got some really good talent coming in, and also a lot of players coming back. Yes, they lost a lot, but they also got a lot coming back, which I'm very excited. I mean, can LSU repeat? That's a stretch. That's something we'll have to look at their spring game to make that determination, and also to see how they'll do in the season opener. I think season opener they're going against Rice, huh?
Yeah, they go against Rice. Yeah, very exciting. Very competitive.
They even got
Can't wait for it.
They got
Rice.
You want some red beans on top of that?
They're coming here to play LSU.
Oh wait. You're right. You might want some white beans, huh?
Navy white beans.
Oh, it has to be navy white. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I like my red beans plus my hot sauce and my Tony Shash. So.
Oh, you dig that hot sauce, Josh?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I love hot sauce.
Okay. No judging.
Hey, hot sauce is a southern delicacy. Okay.
Look, I love my Cajun chef. Okay.
Okay.
Don't go messing with my green sauce.
Okay.
Well, you never had Cajun chef with green sauce before?
Yeah, I've had it. I just want to look at you crazy. I just want you to sit with that.
Why are we talking about hot sauce again?
I don't know.
Well, okay.
Anyways, we're 200 plus days from college kickoff. This is a long road, a long journey. God, please be with us. Let's hope that he does not off himself.
Why would I do that? I just take my aggression and anger out on you.
On me? Look, we're gonna.
I can't hurt myself.
Look, we're going to have to get some boxing gloves or something. We're going to have to, just.
You're asking me to hurt myself. I don't want to hurt myself. I'll hurt you, but not me.
Help.
Okay, talk about LSU softball and their excellent start to the season after the break. All right, and we're back to Cajun Connection. And softball got off to a fantastic 5-0 start.
Divas of the Diamond.
They opened up on Thursday night against Central Arkansas, beat them 3-2. Followed that up with a win over Oklahoma State, 1-0. Trounced Florida A&M 8-0. Followed that up with a win with a walk-off homer against Oklahoma State, 3-2, and then finished the weekend with a 16-0 no-hitter.
And for their fortunes, they moved up to number 7 in the polls.
Yeah. Georgia Clark took home the honors for SEC Player of the Week after having 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 8 walks, 1.667 slugging percentage, and a .857 on base percentage.
And Taylor Pleasance took home Freshman of the Week. And her first weekend as a Tiger couldn't have gone as any better. She led the entire SEC in batting average, 692, which is, do you know what you got to do to bat a 692, 1.077 slugging percentage, 765 on base percentage. She was 9 for 13 with 2 doubles, a home run, 5 runs scored, 4 RBIs, and 4 walks. If that's not impressive, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where they go from here, because it does so far look like the pitching is going to be the name in the game for the softball team. Either that or the offense just hasn't gotten going yet.
I can say the offense has gotten going pretty well. If you ask me.
I'm looking more at the 2 games against Oklahoma State, and then 3-2 against Central Arkansas. Florida A&M is no surprise. They're supposed to beat teams like that by that type of score, even though 16-0 in softball is pretty ridiculous.
It is. No matter who you're going against,
that's a lot. The following weekend they have coming up is they have 2 games against 10th ranked ULL, and so that should be a tough 2 games. In-state rival against the Raging Cajuns of Lafayette.
They got a tough test. They got to go against like Texas Tech. They got to go against California, Washington, and that's 3 games in a row. And this is gonna this is gonna be at the Judy Garment Classic. They'll be in Fulton, California, where they got to play Loyola Marymount, Texas Tech, California, Washington, and Colorado State. So this is going to be quite a 5-game stretch, and I think that throughout this stretch we're going to find out truly how good is this LSU softball team.
One other thing you got to think about is after that they jump straight into SEC play, which SEC this year has 10 out of 14 teams that are ranked.
And it's just the level of competition in this conference has definitely evolved.
Also, I was looking over the top 25, and it just kind of goes to show just that softball, unlike baseball, is still a bit top heavy. Because, like I said, 10 SEC teams are ranked, which is the most out of any conference. But you have another 3 from the Big 12, I believe, 3 from the Big 10, and 3 from the Pac-12. So 4 conferences just kind of dominate the entire top 25.
Good Lord.
But the SEC is going to be the big one. Last year, I want to say it was 6 of the 8 teams were College World Series, and the college softball World Series were from the SEC.
I think South Carolina was one of them, right?
Yeah, I do believe South Carolina.
Florida? Wasn't Florida in?
Florida's a regular. Florida's gonna be in there. They are a fantastic team in softball and baseball, but I think softball is more noteworthy than the baseball team. Even though the baseball team does get to the final in Omaha every other season, it seems.
Well, we're only 5 games into this marathon, and it's the road to Oklahoma City. And LSU, Beth Tarina and those girls, they got their eyes set on OKC. And I've said it before, I'm gonna say it again. There should be no reason as to why LSU can't make it to OKC. No excuses whatsoever.
And I'm always curious. I'm looking over their schedule this year, and it's very challenging. Not only the SEC, but we named it. They got number one Washington that they have to go up against. They have Texas Tech, which is ranked. They just had 2 games against a ranked opponent in Oklahoma State.
They got to go against UL Lafayette.
And UL Lafayette versus the baseball team, which has a whole squad of young players coming in. All your most experienced guys are now from last year's team are gone. And the most competitive team that they have coming in prior to SEC play is Indiana. Now, granted, they do have that one weekend little
Shiners Classic, I think.
Shiners Classic where they have Baylor, Texas, and TCU, which is a tough stretch on anybody's schedule.
So the thing is like it seems that this is a chance for LSU baseball to brace themselves before they get into tough conference play.
But it's like looking at their schedule. Their last weekend of a warm up before SEC play is against UMass Lowell.
Like who is UMass Lowell?
Batting practice.
Okay. And pitching practice.
Yeah. Because then, your first SEC series is against Ole Miss. Ole Miss is always dangerous. They're always a top competitor. They've been to the World Series a few times. They frequently host. Then after that is Mississippi State, another World Series team, another frequent host team. You get Tennessee, which can be a team that makes the tournament every now and then. They're not as consistent as others. They do make it every
more on the fence.
Yeah, they're on the fence for most year. But then you have a 3-game series against Vanderbilt in Nashville.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, and Vanderbilt is a top 2 team any given year.
Yeah.
And they're also this year's reigning and defending national champs.
Well, they can cut their blessings. At least they don't have to play Virginia.
I'd rather play Virginia, to be honest with you, than Vanderbilt.
You kind of have a point there. But like I said, it's early in the marathon.
Yeah, baseball is yet to start. They do start this weekend, though.
For Valentine's Day, so if you're trying to bring your date somewhere, bring them to Alex Box.
If you're trying to dump her.
Yeah, if you're trying to dump her.
Are you trying to get her to dump you?
If one of those two things, if you're trying to set yourself free, bring her to a boring baseball game. Now, if she loves baseball and it's Valentine's Day weekend, then bring her. If you're trying to, elevate your relationship, then take her to Alex Box. Alex Box is the best baseball atmosphere in all of college baseball.
You just take girls to one and done bus stops. Anywho. On to the next segment. Basketball coming up.
I will throw this phone at you.
Give me an S. S. Give me a U. U. Give me a C. C. Give me a K. K. Give me an S. S. What does it spell? LSU basketball.
Well, good lord, they only lost like 2 games straight.
You lost to a team that has not won an SEC game in over 2 seasons.
That was a gimme. How do you lose to Vandy? That's my question. That is the topic of this week of this segment. How do you lose to Vandy, the laughingstock of SEC men's basketball? They have not won an SEC conference game. They're pretty much the Arkansas Razorbacks of SEC men's basketball. Not winning a damn conference game.
And I think the worst part about that is they give up 99 points
to Vanderbilt. And not only that, they turn around a couple days later. They go to Auburn. They hold a 15-point lead, and usually when teams they hold these big leads, and you can just put your foot on your opponent's neck. But no, LSU wants to give them a chance. They want to give them a dog in the fight, and they end up losing 91-90. And I keep trying to tell people. I tell people all the time, LSU squandering these leads, these big leads, It's going to catch up to them. It's going to haunt them someday. And guess what? It haunted them against Auburn. This is not Alabama. This is not Texas A&M. This is not Tennessee. This is the Auburn Tigers, a team that has evolved themselves into a Final Four caliber team led by the legendary Bruce Pearl. This is not a team you want to squander a 15-point lead against. Now, I did say that with LSU going against Auburn, we're going to find out how good this LSU basketball team is. I'll be like, this is when they go against Auburn. Though LSU did not pull out the win, they went up against a very good Auburn team. I have to hand it to LSU. LSU is actually a pretty good team. My problem with them is that they don't know how to finish teams off. And they're going to learn the hard way when they got to go against Kentucky.
Yeah.
Rant over.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like watching LSU basketball. It was like watching the big brother take a good 20-point lead, pat little brother on the head, say, "Here, now you try to make a shot."
And they were passing the ball to Auburn like, "Here, make a shot." Okay, and Auburn was just draining threes all over the place.
Yeah, they outscored LSU 11-3 in the final 67 seconds of that game. Of regulation, that is. And then, of course, drain a winning shot with 0.1 seconds left.
And it's just like LSU they don't know how to finish, and it's going to haunt them in the SEC tournament. I mean, LSU needs to be able to learn from this game, and Will Wade has to make a lot of adjustments. And people are asking, is this LSU basketball team even good? I mean, I would say, yes, this team is good. I mean, Skylar Mays has proven to be a team that can hold, he can hold his teammates on his back. I mean, he's proven to be a formidable player, one of the most formidable players in the country, in my opinion. It's just the only thing that if LSU can just learn how to finish, LSU can be a formidable team in the NCAA tournament this year. There's no doubt in my mind that they're going to the big dance, but can they finish?
I guess you have to ask their girlfriends.
Oh, wow. Wow. That was below the belt, man. Literally, that was below the belt. This is a family-friendly show.
It came to me. I'm sorry. It's the first thing that I thought about.
But you know what? I'm impressed. I can't even be mad at you about that. I'm impressed. I'm very impressed.
Yeah. No, but that has been the story of men's basketball this year. This year, taking really big leads and then giving them up, and then either having to hold on late or come from behind late, or just flat out lose late.
I mean, LSU, they got a chance to redeem themselves against Missouri, but, I mean, the way LSU's been playing, even that's not guaranteed. You lost to Vandy, so nothing else is guaranteed. So now, like, the rest of the teams in your schedule, they got to play Georgia, too. Now the rest of these teams think they have a chance against you just because you lost to Vanderbilt. You see reputation you're giving you, now you got to go ahead and make a name for yourself. Now you got to prove them wrong.
Yeah, and somehow they're still in first place. They're tied for 3, but I think the tiebreaker goes towards them at this point.
Well, they go in against Missouri tonight at 8 o'clock on the SEC Network, and Missouri has struggled this year. They're 11-12. They haven't had a good season, and the game's at the PMAC. So this is LSU's chance to redeem themselves, and this can be one to where they can, grab their tiger nails and sharpen their teeth with. Because when they play Kentucky, then oh Lord, I'm ready for Kentucky to come back to the PMAC. I'm just wondering, is the basketball team ready for Kentucky to hit the PMAC? That's my question.
Well, at least the women's basketball took care of business this week, winning their only game, I think. They haven't played many games in the last week or so. I think they just beat Missouri.
They just beat Missouri 66-58. Their big test is going to be when they go to South Carolina.
Obviously, number 1 team in the country.
And South Carolina just took care of UConn easily, 70-52. I mean, UConn, they have... I don't want to say they've gotten a couple steps back because UConn is still a dominant team. They are still formidable, and this is still a national title caliber team. But, the last time, did LSU play South Carolina before already? No, they haven't played South Carolina yet.
No.
Because LSU's only home loss was against Florida State. But I mean, I think this is going to be the game that can make or break LSU. This is going to prove how good is LSU girls basketball. You want to know how good you are? Play South Carolina.
Yeah, but I can tell you who I am starting to get excited for.
Who?
The Pelicans.
Pelicans.
They have. This is a very, very young team with a lot of talent. These guys are talented. I show you that play from earlier this week where Jackson Hayes did that slammed that putback. That Reddick missed that 3-pointer.
And Reddick was looking like
Hey?
he was looking like a kid in a candy store.
It's like, should I be in awe or should I be excited? You know.
Like, oh, wow, Jackson! I did not know you had it in you.
You know, and I would say, I mean, this as far as Jackson Hayes goes, this year has reminded me a lot about what we saw in Giannis's first season. A lot of potential flash, but okayness over the course most of the season, and then his sophomore year he broke out.
So you think Jackson Hayes can basically he can end up being one of the better rising stars in the whole league? You think he has that type of potential? I mean, considering that he's pretty much in the shadow of Zion Williamson. Considering, I mean, of course they're on the same team, but I mean, I think Zion Williamson and Jackson Hayes can have the potential to be one of the best young tandems in the league. Honestly.
I do believe that Jackson Hayes will be a very, very, very quality basketball player in this league. Now, can he become a star? Probably not on this team. I think there's too much talent on this team for anybody to really become a dominating star outside of maybe Zion Williamson or Drew Holiday.
But I think he can help the Pelicans like spearhead like a Pelican revolution, as you could say. Like what happened like as far as with the Golden State Warriors. I mean, Steve Kerr's first few seasons when they were always in the NBA Finals. I mean, I think that this can go on here as far as with the Pelicans. I mean, you got Drew Holiday, you got Jackson Hayes, Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, Lonzo Ball, JJ Redick. I mean, if he stays after this season, I mean, he is on a 2-year contract. Most likely he's pretty much going to come back. But, I mean, the Pelicans are only 5 games out of 8th place in the West.
And they've won 3 straight.
So the Pelicans are more than capable of making a run, and there's 30-some games left. So the Pelicans are more than capable of making a run for a playoff spot. It would be a stretch if they get the 6th seed, but I mean, I would want them to get like a 6 or 7 because I do not want to play the Lakers in the opening round of the NBA playoffs because I'm tired of the Pelicans. Whenever they get to the playoffs, they take they're one and done as far as series are concerned.
No, I said to you when we were meeting at CC's Coffee, what would be hilarious is if the Lakers get knocked out of the playoffs in the first round by Anthony Davis's former team. That would be hilarious. 1 year after leaving. And that would be hilarious.
And then all you're going to hear is dun, 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 dun. Just yeah, but anyways, enough with the cartoonness from us. But I mean, this Pelicans team is pretty dang good.
It has the potential to be elite.
I mean, especially next season.
If they continue to develop, I think this team will definitely. I can see a Warrior-esque run out of this team. Let's put it that way.
Oh, most definitely. Not only that, the Pelicans they got more first round picks coming in. And so, I mean,
that's the thing.
If David Griffin can play his cards right, I mean, he is the new GM. He did get hired this past offseason. If he could play his cards right with this roster, I mean, it's going to go along with what you said. The Pelicans can have a Warrior-esque type of run.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, they got first-round picks, they got second-round picks, so they got more than enough assets to either trade for a veteran player at some point,
or maybe another star player,
or just continue to draft and build around the teams and players that they currently have.
I mean, I think a guy that the Pelicans are probably gonna try and go after, and he's another young guy, Devin Booker. Get him from Phoenix, bring him to New Orleans.
I like where the Pelicans are going. I really do. Okay. we'll call that a wrap on basketball.
F your bell. You know what? I'm gonna swing this at you.
You can do that.
No, I'm not gonna do that to you. You my boy. You my homie.
Yeah. Okay. Anywho, that just happened. Really good show, and we'll see you next week with another episode of Cajun Connection.